spent over $250,000 on personal development, and honestly, most of it was a complete waste. But here's the real truth. If you're thinking about spending big money on personal growth, there's a way to do it that's smart. And today I'm going to show you how to avoid all the costly mistakes that myself and my wife have made over the years. I help high achievers reconnect with their passion and create balance in their lives through holistic well-being and stress management. And over the past decade, I've invested very heavily in personal development. Attending all those high-ticket masterminds, hiring those elite coaches, and even diving deep into these transformational weekend and week-long and even several week retreats. And while some of it was life-changing, a lot of it wasn't. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the biggest mistakes that I've made and how you can avoid them, saving you time, money, and a whole ton of frustration. And if you're serious about growth and want practical, proven strategies for achieving transformation, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on those bell notifications so you won't miss any future videos. Personal development is a multi-billion-dollar industry, from high-ticket coaching programs to these exclusive retreats, and the promise is always the same: transform your life. But here's the problem. Most people go in blindly, hoping that throwing money at the next big thing will create lasting change. But it just doesn't work like that. I've attended these $30,000 masterminds and hired the high price tag coaches and even gone super deep on these elite level retreats. And yes, I learned a ton, but I also, along the way, wasted tons of money on things that really didn't move the needle. And in fact, a lot of times I was doing this and this and this and this and everything everybody was getting all interested in. And not only did I waste money, but it actually slowed my progress down. And I actually at times felt like I was going backwards. So what I want to do today is really break this down for you so that you can avoid those big mistakes and you can get great momentum starting right now. So mistake number one really is paying for accountability rather than taking ownership. And I used to believe that if I hired just the right coach, they were going to keep me accountable and then I would just automatically succeed. The reality is that no one is going to save you. The best mentors don't babysit, they guide you, and you still have to do the work. Now, one time I invested in high-ticket coaching that promised extreme accountability. But what happened? They gave me the check-ins and the worksheets, but the results still depended upon me showing up and doing the work. There's no magic bullet. But what really works? Instead of paying for someone to hold you accountable, invest in systems that keep you accountable to yourself, trackers, morning routines, and setting up non-negotiable daily actions. Create those habits of success through personal accountability. Then, if you need help with one specific area, hire a coach who can help you go to that next level. But again, you can only do that if you're already doing the work. Now, mistake number two is thinking that more information equals more transformation. I hoarded all the courses, the books, the seminars, right? And then the result, I was overwhelmed. And you start one program and then you go to another and then you go to another and then you realize you started 5 programs and you finished none of them, right? Does this sound familiar? It makes sense. Like the more we know, the more we can apply, but sometimes it's better to just get one thing taken care of before you move on to the next. Because knowledge is great, but if you're not applying it, it's just expensive entertainment. I once spent thousands on a course about scaling my business, and it was full of these great strategies. But when I look back, I never implemented them because I was already overwhelmed and with all the other strategies that I had gotten from different courses. And so now the problem I'm running into is I've got all these great ideas, I'm not moving forward, and it feels like shit. It feels really bad when I just, every time I turn here or there, I feel like I'm failing because I'm dipping into so many things rather than focusing on one thing before I move to the next. So what really works here? And as you may have guessed, the idea is to pick one course, one mentor, one strategy, and immerse yourself in their training. And then implement what you learn. And don't move forward until you've mastered it, because execution beats education every time. Now, mistake number 3 is chasing the next breakthrough. there's a lot of personal development programs out there and so many amazing business strategy programs, and they all promise that one big breakthrough. And that moment that will just change everything in your life. And while those moments feel powerful, the truth is breakthroughs don't last unless you turn them into your daily habits. I know this firsthand. I once attended a $5,000 weekend retreat. By the end of it, I felt unbelievable. In fact, I felt unstoppable. And I felt like I had actually cracked that code to success. But then when I got home, I realized nothing had actually changed. My daily habits were the same. I was doing the same routines over and over. And within a few weeks, all that life-changing energy that I'd gotten from the retreat had faded. And that's when I realized I hadn't paid for transformation. I had paid for a feeling. And to me, this insight was worth the whole weekend because it's a major turning point in my journey. And that's why I created the Path of the Zenpreneur, a program designed to remove those blocks to taking consistent daily action. Because real growth isn't about spending 3 or 4 days hyper-focused with intensity and, only going home and then falling back into procrastination afterwards. It's about focusing on consistent daily changes, showing up as a completely different human being who's already achieved that goal. And by working on those consistent daily changes, instead of chasing a high from an expensive event, we find that transformation isn't about that one big shift. It's about small intentional habits that compound over time. So the secret isn't really in the breakthrough itself, it's what you do after that's the real breakthrough. Mistake number 4 is not defining success before investing. So many people just jump into these coaching programs, all these amazing courses, high ticket masterminds, with the hope that this is going to be the thing that changes everything. But here's the problem. If you don't know exactly what you're solving for, you're going to end up buying solutions for a problem that you don't have. I've been there. I once joined an advanced leadership program thinking that it was going to be that big breakthrough that I needed. And while that experience was so powerful, it didn't address my immediate problem. At that time, my business needed a tactical marketing strategy, not another mindset shift. And the result? I left feeling inspired, but then I was still stuck in the same place. And the problem is when you get stuck in the same place over and over and over, it just compounds the weight on your back and you feel like you're a failure here, right? This is one of those biggest pitfalls in personal growth. It's investing in a program that sounds good, but maybe it'll even be helpful for you. But in this moment, the thing you need to do next to actually make consistent progress forward, ultimately, which will equal that massive transformation you're looking for, maybe this program doesn't align with your current needs. So not saying it's a bad program, just saying maybe it's not the one you need right now. It's sort of like trying to build a house without a blueprint. You might buy the best tools and hire the best experts and then put all this effort in. But if you don't know exactly what you're building, you're going to end up wasting time, money, and energy. I have friends right now who are in the process of renovating the interior of their new home. And they have 2 to 3 hours every week where they meet with their architect and they continually are changing what they're doing. I feel like if they had just focused on deciding what they really wanted in the beginning, the project would probably be done already. And as you know, the more time you spend on things like this, and the more changes you make, the more energy is wasted and the more money is wasted. So what I'd suggest is to define your desired outcome before you invest in a program, whether it's a coaching program or a course, right? Ask yourself, am I looking for better health? Am I looking for a better mindset? Or am I looking for a business strategy that's going to, move my business forward? Do I need that mindset shift in order to implement that business strategy? You have to be really honest with yourself because maybe you already have the right mindset, but really what you're missing is the tactics. So the question to ask yourself is this investment going to solve my biggest roadblock? Or is it just another shiny object? Clarity leads to smart investments. And when you invest in exactly what you need, you accelerate your growth without wasting time on solutions that don't fit your current stage. So mistake number 5 is ignoring the free and the low-cost resources, right? I've spent thousands on things I could have learned from a $20 book or a well-structured YouTube playlist. You know, I once spent $3,000 on a course about productivity only to find out that the principles were explained in like a $15 book. I mean, the reality is you don't have to spend thousands to start seeing meaningful growth. And in fact, some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned came from the free resources like books, YouTube channels, and structured frameworks like these free PDFs that people offer you all the time. This allowed me to take immediate action without breaking the bank. You know, and that's exactly why I created this channel, to give you the tools and insights to transform your life without the need to spend all this additional money. Now, why does this work, right? You start with free resources like this channel and all of my other free content. And then if that's not enough, you can upgrade to the coach or the program that fills your gaps. And that's really an important thing, because now that you've spent the time reflecting and using some of the free resources, you get a feeling for who's in alignment with you and offers the solution you need now. And the other thing is, make a great list, a YouTube playlist of people that you want to work with now and people you want to work with later, right? Because like I said, there's a time and a place for all of these amazing resources. And then when you're ready to take your transformation to the next level, my Path of the Zenpreneur program is designed to provide deep, lasting changes that are built on real strategies and not hype. So if you're really serious about making a lasting shift in your life, I'd invite you to explore more of my content and discover the principles that have made all the difference in my journey. And if you're thinking about investing in personal growth, here's the best way to do it. First, get clear on what you need now. Then start with those free or those low-cost options and really get a flavor for the people that you might be working with and see which one resonates the most with you. And then if you invest, prioritize implementation over consumption. Next, make sure that any mentor or program aligns with your values and your goals. Personal growth isn't about spending more. It's applying what actually works. If this resonated with you and you found this valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone else who needs to hear this message. Let's build real, lasting change together.